So now we, the fifth chapter, the chapter of the generating the bodhicitta. Again, the chapter is quite vast and academically sometimes it's quite complicated. There's a lot of twisted sort of way of thinking. You could blame it to the Indian people. But if you in that mindset, so to speak, it does make sense also. For instance, I will tell you this. Probably this is something we discussed last time. What is the confidence? Where is the confidence based on what reason or what rationale can we actually believe that we can generate the bodhicitta and every beings? Okay, one very fundamental thing, kind of important, little confusing maybe, is as long as you have this cognizance that cognizes a pain, then you actually have one of the most important sort of element to make yourself, to generate the bodhicitta. It will sound really strange. One would think someone who has so much hatred, someone who is okay. I think in our, even the Buddhists don't believe in this. And in the mundane world, we believe in things like an evil person. By nature, he or she is evil. You understand what I'm saying? Like people who have done really, really bad things, like massacre and killing millions of people, etc. Even then, there's a whole potential that they can actually generate the bodhicitta. The reason is because they know what is pain. The twisted, kind of very twisted logic, but it's actually quite important logic. They know pain. If they don't know pain, why would they even create that specific pain? They know that somebody is going to go through this pain by doing like such as killing. This knowledge of creating a pain, this is a very, very important base. Maybe give you an example. There are questions like, okay, in about 100 years' time, when there's artificial intelligence, there's that kind of questions being raised. How about the Buddha nature aspect? Does this robot, do they they play chess? I don't know. They cook for you. You can have a robotic partner who, by just pressing the button somewhere in the neck, You can change their outfit, not just outfit, you can change them into very passionate or passive or obedient or challenger, or I don't know, whatever. But how about, okay, what is the Buddhist answer for this? Do they have Buddha nature? Are they object of compassion? Do they need liberation? All of this. A few years ago, there was this kind of sort of very frantic questions from some not too matured Buddhist students. You understand? Nothing to worry in Buddhism. This is where Buddhism is so confident. It doesn't really matter. As long as that thing, whether they are a robot, it doesn't matter whether they are a robot or whether they are actually human being, it doesn't matter. As long as they have hope or they have a fear. This seemingly human, but made in a laboratory or a machine sort of factory, just because it came not from a normal way, not in a what do you call it, like a father and the mother and all of that, but Buddhism has always talked about different kind of birth anyway. There's something called miraculous birth. There's something, there's like a hatching, eggs. Then there's a womb birth, which is what we are. So this kind of, as long as that thing has cognizance and hope and fear, wanting something or afraid of something, the Buddha nature, the idea of the Buddha nature can be established very easily. If they are just inanimate, but with all the sophisticated, algorithm, like they really are programmed to make, espresso or cappuccino. They have all that perfect algorithm, but they actually don't have cognizance. Then there is no base for bodhicitta. This is what we are talking here at the moment. So as long as you have a fear, as long as you have a hope, you already have big portion of ingredient for the bodhicitta. In other words, what I'm saying is this flower may not have the potential to generate the bodhicitta for itself, by itself. Inanimate, no bodhicitta. But as long as you have this mind cognizance, so the fundamental ingredient is this cognizance. Okay. Then, of course, that's not enough, never enough, because, coffee bean can be growing in different parts of the world without even us knowing. But as long as that beans is not encountered by someone who knows what is coffee and harvest it, roast, grind, and then actually go through the whole procedure of making coffee, it's never a coffee. But this coffee that's growing somewhere without us knowing, it still has the coffee ingredient, 99%. Now, you and I'm hoping that most of you are human beings. We never know. You and I have cognizance. You and I have a hope and fear. But we have something extra. That is, and I'm really talking about someone who is really new to this. Those who are already cooked as a Buddhist, I'm not addressing. There are some people, some of you may be here just out of curiosity. Well, what's going on there? And this is, isn't it a weekend? Yes. And it's, you are sacrificing your weekend. There are a lot of other things to do. There's a lot of exciting things to do out there. But you actually, decided to do this and sit 4 hours in this air-conditioned room, overly air-conditioned room sometimes. I was just telling, I'm going to put Singaporeans and Hong Kong people responsible for destructions of the earth. Everywhere we go in the room is so cold. I went to a movie in Hong Kong just about a week ago. My feet, I thought it's going to break, becoming ice. I don't know why they have to do this. Where are we? Okay. So this curiosity, what's happening here? This curiosity. And some of your curiosity is actually maybe just because you are trying to impress your boyfriend or girlfriend or trying to get along with her or his wish or fit into his or her world. That may be so. Then maybe the cause and condition is not entirely happening, but at the same time, just being here, even that will do. That will do, actually. That will do. I've always said this. Bodhisattva works in a very, very special way. I would say that, it is possible that thanks to the silkworm, Buddhism came to China. Those silkworm must be the Bodhisattvas. Had a big conference. Okay, we needed to go to this place called Mahayana, which is China. How do we do this? And then they have a meeting, and then the Bodhisattva, the chief Bodhisattva, you know what? Those guys, they like silk. Why don't you become a silkworm? Okay, we will all do this. Billions of them, they become silkworm. And that's how Buddhism traveled to China. In many ways. And similarly, many bodhisattvas said, okay, how are we going to go to America, to West? Then the chief said, oh, that's easy. Just grow as marijuana. We never know. We cannot sort of, what do you call it, outright this. It's possible. It's, like the arrival of Buddhism in Australia, for instance, I think in the 1800s. I think when the Chinese, I think the first ever, this is so amazing. I think someone should really write a book or even make a film about this. Like the Kuan Yin statue arrived in land of this Australia, the 1800s. This is during the, Jamyang Khyentse Wangpo's time, if you trace all this history of the different Buddhist history, it will be interesting. Okay, so hope and fear. This, and then on top of that, Didn't we talk yesterday? This awkward feeling, is this all there is? So-called life? Can't be. And this kind of sense of sadness, depression, sort of this feeling, there got to be something more than this. That's a big one. That's a really, really big one as a cause for bodhicitta. And then, so many, bumping into a sublime being without you even knowing. This is a big one in the Bodhisattva, in the Mahayana. You should go to Lucky Plaza, right? Not just Lucky Plaza. Where is it? All this Singapore Plaza. All this. You should go sometimes. You should go to crowds. We never know. You could be just brushing your shoulder with a fully realized being, and that's it. That will trigger all this strange, awkward feeling in you after that. Because there are a set of bodhisattvas who just are sort of assigned to do that. Really. they are like, I think, like Avalokiteshvara, Avalok. I think the Avalok is the name. This Avalok, the term Avalok is actually name among many others. Is also a name given to there's a very sophisticated Indian dance called Bharatanatyam. It's a classical Indian dance, and they have dance with eyes also. They have like they also, the eyes also dance, and then eyes have a different way of gazing, looking, many different way of, like rolling, looking up, looking sideways. And one of the gaze is called avalok, which is, I think, looking down, looking, like with a compassion, basically gazing. Yes, so as the name indicates, there are bodhisattvas who has taken seriously the gesture of gazing, just to make people feel connected to the innate bodhicitta, or the basic goodness, or the Buddha nature, or element. Remember, the Buddha element. You are Buddha element. You are Buddha family. You are Buddha. You are race. You are entitlement. You as the Buddha. And then consciously, okay, so now you are becoming more conscious. You are becoming more like what we have, the mundane world. It's endless. It's futile. You are not only just feeling awkward, okay? By this time you are feeling, okay, I thought I'll have a child. I'll raise this child. And I'll really have the joy of bringing this child. And that's about it. But now this child has another child. I have to take care of that now. Sort of it goes on. It just never stops. But many of us, we feel that, oh, that's joy of life. But some maybe think, okay, is this ever going to end? And then also the children, they don't necessarily behave how you want. in many different levels. Their, I don't know, choice of who they hang out with, things they eat, the way they talk, sort of makes you feel so. It's never planned. It's not in your plan. It has never been in your plan. Plus, everything is working according to your plan, but then suddenly something else happens. Some very ridiculous things happen. Some not so ridiculous happens. I don't know. Like you're a child and you have all this grand plan and everything is, like going quite well. But then suddenly your child, teenager says that he or she only gets turned on looking at a tire. Now, what to do with that one? Tire, yes, tire. A tire, yeah. Well, these things happens, you know that. And then your child, suddenly, you're this girl child, really trying so hard to be, look like a boy. And your boy child is trying so hard to look like a girl. All of this just throws you off. And all these conditions makes you think, okay, longing for some sort of answer, longing for some sort of a solution. And then due to your merit, maybe you end up encountering the concept of the bodhicitta. These are reasons. I'm just telling you. And then, of course, there's a standard ones like hearing about the bodhicitta, reading about the bodhicitta, growing up in a culture that cherishes the bodhicitta. In many ways, many of us are very fortunate from the Buddhist point of view. I mean, we have a lot of bodhicitta symbol and bodhicitta culture here and there. You have like Kuan Yin tea. The Kuan Yin is Avalokiteshvara. One of these days, your child is going to ask, who is this Kuan Yin? And then you will hear all kinds of answer. And that will do also. So like that. And then actually really beginning to admire the quality of the bodhicitta. What does that mean, by the way? What do we mean by admiring the bodhicitta? It actually, in a more profound level, it's actually beginning to appreciate the innate Buddha, also with some sort of a courage that all these seemingly endless defilements are actually temporary. They are destroyable. They are purifiable. So that courage, yes, I'm a very angry person, but actually it's a temporary. I can do something about this. I can definitely get rid of it, transform it, or make friend with it, or corrupt this, or lure it, I don't know, like seduce it, all kinds of ways. There's so many ways in the Bodhisattva path. So you gain this courage. So this is why those who have the bodhicitta, sometimes they are also called bodhisattva. Many times they are called bodhisattva, which has a connotation of warrior-like. It's like the warrior. Changchup sem pa in the Tibetan. Pa means courage, warrior, pao, vir, like a vira. Okay. Okay, then also, in order to generate the bodhicitta, we do all kinds of things. Hearing, contemplation, and then even doing things like making flower offering, incense, obeisance, taking a vow. Taking a vow. There's a sutra, is it translated? Fortunate Eon, the Thousand Buddhas? Oh, you are translating it?
Translated some parts only, but there's a complete translation from Dharma.
Okay, Dharma published. So beautiful. It's just so beautiful. There are bodhisattvas who would generate the merit by doing something so simple. I think people should read this. Like Jimgangshin Urachebai, Tangpo Changchu. There's a like bodhisattva who was so like poor, didn't have anything to make merit. But then his bodhisattva master was a potter. So this young man who wants to become bodhisattva either offer some mud or knead mud so that the master can make the pots. Just with that as the beginning method to accumulate merit to plant the bodhicitta. So many examples like that. I sort of forgot the big part of the story, but I think the Shakyamuni Buddha, this present Buddha, the way he took the Bodhisattva vow initially, has some touching story. My memory is really bad. He was also very, very poor. And he heard Kashyapa Buddha or Dipamkara Buddha was in town. So he wanted to take the Bodhisattva vow. He wanted to accumulate merit because the bodhicitta is so precious, you need merit. So he wanted to offer a flower, but he didn't have money. So he went to this girl who was who was selling flowers. And he wanted 2 flowers or something like that. But of course, he didn't have money to pay. So he offered his service, like he will work for her for a day or 2 so that he will get this flower. And she said, why is so important this? Why do you want to buy this flower? Then he mentioned about, I think it's Kashyapa Buddha, that he wants to take Bodhisattva vow. This is why he needed to do this. So upon hearing this, I think she was quite cheeky. She said, okay, I'm not selling you. I'm not trading flower. Unless you also have aspiration that for 500 lifetimes you will be my husband or something like this. Yes. So then, because the bodhicitta is so precious for him, he said yes after a lot of thinking. So together they went and took the bodhisattva vow, and many lifetimes later, the boy becomes Siddhartha, and the girl become Yashodhara, wife of the Prince Siddhartha. Anyway, there's a lot of things like this, rituals, basically sacrifice or I don't know. I mean, there are a lot. There are also kings and queens who give up the whole kingdom just for the bodhicitta. But I was just telling the stories more from the people who are like ordinary. Yeah, there are, I think, bodhisattvas who took a bodhisattva vow just offering a massage. And yeah, generosity, discipline, patience, basically practicing all these virtuous basically like practicing not harming others. Let's say, even with a motivation of, I want to take bodhicitta, therefore, in order to accumulate merit, I will not harm others. And the way I will not harm others will be like every Friday, I will not eat meat, something like this, motivation practice. Or I will from now on not wear leather shoes every Wednesday. You understand? So just basically, or you can do it like I will become vegetarian whole life. I mean, that I'm just giving you an example. The Buddhist discipline, Buddhist example is really, really individual. It's a really, really individual base. What it requires is the combination of wisdom and method. This is so important. We will discuss this later. If you lose one of them, then it's not a Buddhist path. It has to combine. And there is no better way to combine the wisdom and method than practicing bodhicitta. Because when we talk about the wisdom, we are talking about understanding the shunyata. But for the lay people, for the beginners, understanding the shunyata is really difficult. That needs, merit also. So, for the beginner bodhisattvas, if you offer this to a bodhisattva, let's say when you offer this to a bodhisattva, you don't really know what is ultimate bodhicitta. You don't really know what is wisdom. Okay, you know maybe vaguely shunyata, emptiness, but you really don't know what it is. But what you can do as a beginner bodhisattva, I offer this to a bodhisattva, may, with this virtue, may all be enlightened. So the act of sacrificing a flower with the motivation of enlightening all the sentient beings, that act has become the act of union of wisdom and method. Okay. 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 So now, just this I think most of you are quite familiar. There's a ultimate bodhicitta, and then there's a relative bodhicitta. The ultimate bodhicitta, as I have just been telling you, is basically shunyata, understanding the wisdom, understanding the emptiness. Relative bodhicitta is wishing to enlighten. A relative bodhicitta is like the 5 paramitas, basically. Maybe that's the wrong way to put it. Like aspirations or generosity, discipline. These are relative bodhicitta, but with a motivation of enlightening sentient beings. Okay. Now, in the relative bodhicitta also, 2 categories: application and aspiration. Application, when we say application, we are talking about acts such as generosity, which for most of the beginner bodhisattva is difficult. I mean, how much can we give? We ourselves, we are destitute. We will try, of course. You give here and there, but especially for the beginners. So for the beginners, but aspiration bodhicitta is encouraged. And actually, that's really, really probably the most harmless, no harm at all, so much help. Aspiration to enlighten sentient beings. That has it all, basically. Because if you have the aspiration, if you do prayers, wishing everybody to be enlightened, to awaken to this state of the Buddha nature, that is one aspiration that has no personal agenda. It's the most generous aspiration. You are not aspiring for happiness of your friend or a family, some meager sort of gain like a shelter or food. Aspiration is to make them see the truth. That's nothing better than that. Okay, I think with all this as a background, I think we can now do our taking the Bodhisattva Vow ceremony today. As I said, those who are here just to observe, you are very welcome. You can just keep on sitting here. You don't have to, there is no like physical rituals. Just mentally, you don't have to take the vow. And since today is Vesak, I'm also going to take this opportunity to take the refuge and the Bodhisattva vow together with you. But I will just sort of act as a master of the ceremony or something like this. Okay. Since there's not so much space, you don't have to do the full prostrations. Just think. Now we need to first take refuge. But those who have space, you can stand up and do prostrations if you want. Okay, so we will take refuge first. Traditionally, we require a statue of the Buddha, which there is one, very small one here. Where? No, it's okay. Yeah. There's a small one. Okay, please think that this is not a bronze or that this is actually Shakyamuni Buddha sitting here. And then those who can, please do 3 prostrations. Okay. Afterwards, please, with your right, if you can, right knee on the floor, and then with a hand gesture, Anjalika Mudra, which is this. You can sit. Yes. Please repeat what I say. Chok Chuna, Jubi, Sanje, Chomdende, Tamjedang, Sa Chula, Nebe, Changchup, Semba, Semba Chembo, Namdang, Lama, Doje, Zimba, Chembonam, Dala, Gonsusol. Okay, so please keep on thinking that Shakyamuni Buddha is right in front of you. And now thinking that you will accept and you are convinced that all compounded things are impermanent. There is no inherently existing phenomena, truly existing, permanently existing phenomena. How you see things are not how they are. And then also accepting that your own mind is the Buddha, even though you have a temporary defilements. And then accepting this path and the support of the path, which is the Sangha, as your companion. Think that you will take refuge. Please repeat these words. Changchup Ningbor, Chi Chi Par, Sanje Namla, Japsu Chi, Chödang Changchup, Semba Yi, Cholang, Dejin, Japsu Chi, Changchup Ningbor, Chi Chi Par, Sanje Namla, Japsu Chi, Chödang Changchup, Semba Yi, Cholang, Dejin, Japsu Chi, Changchup Ningbor, Chi Chi Par, Sanje Namla, Japsu Chi, Chödang Changchup, Semba Yi, Cholang, Dejin, Japsu Chi. Okay, one more recitation, and right after this recitation, you have taken the refuge. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. Okay, now with the same posture, you are about to take the Bodhisattva vow. So what you are saying is, just as how all the Tathagatas of the past have taken the Bodhisattva vow, I shall also take the Bodhisattva vow step by step and engage with the Bodhisattva action step by step. Okay, so thinking that, please repeat. Jitar nganji, deshe ji, changchup tuni, jeba tang, changchup sembe, khaba la, teda rimjin, neba tar, dejin drola, pendendu, changchup semni, jeji shing, dejin duni, khaba lang, rimba jindu, labarji. Okay, please think that all sentient beings have the Buddha nature. Their nature is stainless. Yet, they have not discovered this. I shall awaken them. I shall do whatever I can to assist them to awaken to this state. Okay, please repeat. Jitar nganji, deshe ji, changchup tuni, jeba tang, changchup sembi, hlapala, teda rimjin, neba tar, dejin drola, pendun tu, changchup sembi, jeji shing, dejin tuni, hlapalang, rimbajindu, labarji. Sentient beings are as infinite as skies. But the time, quantity, durations are all relative. Thinking this, and also, once again, thinking all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are in front of you, in the presence of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, you will do this recitation one more time. And at the end, you have taken the Bodhisattva vow. Jitar nganji, deshe ji, changchup tuni, jeba tang, changchup sempi, lapa la, teda rimjin, neba tar, dejin drola, pendendu, changchup semni, jeji shing, dejin tuni, lapa lang, rimbajindu, labarji. Okay, please sit. Okay, there's a few more things to do. Just follow the, I will just guide through. Okay. So please think that today my life has become fruitful. Today, being a human has bear fruit. Today, being a human has become worthy. Today, I have become a child of the Buddha. Now I am entitled with all the Buddha's wealth. Since now I have become the member of the Buddha's family, I shall engage with a family duty. I shall not disgrace Buddha family. Just as how a destitute beggar found amidst pile of garbage, a jewel. I also, among all my defilements, emotions, anger, jealousy, pride, and all kinds of, among all these defilements, I have today found kindness, compassion, and the wish, this precious wish to enlighten sentient beings. Today, I invite all sentient beings in the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And now, there's a tradition of declaring this to devas and asuras. There's a history behind this. It's believed that gods in the Tushita heaven, like devas and the asuras, they become very happy every time a human being take a bodhisattva vow. So we need to inform the devas and asuras. So please think, today I have invited all sentient beings in the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In the presence of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I have taken the Bodhisattva vow. Therefore, O devas and asuras, rejoice. Okay, you have taken the Bodhisattva vow. So, as a symbolically, as immediately after, before we made a mess out of ourselves, immediately we will take the Bodhisattva, we will practice the Bodhisattva path. And symbolically, it's a symbolic practice of the ultimate bodhicitta, which is meditation on emptiness. So let's do that for a minute or two. If you can, please sit straight. Just watch this moment thought. You may have amazing, wonderful thoughts. Just watch it. Don't judge. Or you may have hideous, evil thoughts. Don't judge. Or you have some mundane thoughts. Whatever it is, just watch. Keep on watching the thoughts. Once you see the thoughts, you have nothing else to do. Just keep on watching the thoughts. If a new thought comes, just watch. If the old thought remains, just watch that too. Beyond simply watching, you have nothing else to do. Okay, this is a very, very beginner level of the ultimate bodhicitta meditation on emptiness. Since today is a very special day, we just symbolically, of course, if you want to further practice this, you need a proper sort of step-by-step, like path you should follow, I would. With this, you have taken refuge and the Bodhisattva vow. We have no time for like cutting hair and all of that. It's not necessary. And also, there's usually a tradition of giving names. And I'm looking for a name. Can't think of a proper name. Okay, this is your name. Be ready. Write it down. First line. It's a long names, First line. Spring is passing. Spring is passing. Okay, second line. The birds cry, comma, and the fishes fill, Fill. And the third line, with tears on their eyes. Okay. Spring is passing, the birds cry, and the fishes fill with tears on their eyes. That's your name. I think, haiku always have 3 lines, right? So the birds cry and the fishes fill with tears on their eyes. I guess you can put it all in one. Fill is Fill, with tears on their eyes. Okay, another one, if you don't like this. Okay, first line. Tranquility. Yeah, tranquility. Okay, that's first line. Second line, penetrating the very rock. Penetrating the very rock. A cicada's voice. A cicada's voice. That is so beautiful. I think this should do it. Tranquility. There's a quietness, and then at the same time, there's this penetrating noise of a cicada. Like I think it's such a meaningful, so Buddhist name for you, because it's this moment, and there's a paradox in this. There's like tranquility. There's a quietness, but then there's a cicada that's making noise, which is like piercing a very rock, meaning a big rock. A cicada's voice. Or if you want to just call yourself cicadas, fine too. Which for Chinese you should be happy, because I think it was Tang Chinese. Yeah. But in the Chinese, one of the dynasties, all the bodhisattvas have the cicada on their head as an ornament. Cicada, this bug, I think is a Tang dynasties. You should check this out. The bodhisattvas, they have crown, and instead of flowers and all kinds of jewels, they have a carving of cicada, a bug. Very beautiful. I think it's Tang, one of the early Tang. I don't know. Okay. I think we should take a break.